Mais quand vous commencez à faire traitement avec eux, vous ne pas voulu qu'on continue avec ça parce que ça va le faire que vous n'avez pas changé. Il va crier, la voyer pied ou va le honte, quitter le crier. Cela veut dire que dit que je veux changer comportement ça dans ou je ne pas le continuer. Quitter le crier, quitter le voyer pied, mais continuer faire ça que c'est Catherine ou bien Véronica, ça y est pour faire qui pour renforcer et bon comportement, continuer faire pas changer.
So this is not a punishment. I want y'all to get that. Extinction is not a punishment. But what extinction will do, and Veronica will correct me, decrease the behavior, correct? Yes. So it will decrease the behavior. So this is a chart. This is a graph. And I want y'all to see something, okay? So here, because these are like unwanted effects. This is important right here, and this is important. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. So let's use the example of the grocery store, right? They cry, they cry, they cry, they're crying, they're crying. This is the duration, how long they cry. They might cry for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, until you give them the item that they want, the candy. They cry, they cry, they cry. Okay, cool. Now we put in this intervention, meaning we're not going to give them the candy when they're crying. We're done. What do you think is going to happen? Can somebody answer to me what do you think is going to happen? Mm-hmm. Yes. Who said that? Yes. They're going to cry more. So then they're going to cry, they're going to cry, they're going to cry. And here, not only do they cry more, they drop to the ground. They're throwing things. They're hitting you. They're doing whatever they want because it's like, knock, knock, hello. You're going to give me that candy. But you stand strong. Sometimes parents think, or adults think, or caregivers, whatever it may be, that it doesn't work. Because now, they're not crying anymore. Now they're hitting me and throwing stuff in the grocery store and everybody's looking at me and this is crazy. I can't do this. So what do you think they might do here? Exactly. So then they're going to give up. But if you stay strong, look what happens. What do you think happens? If you fall through, it goes down. It goes down, it goes down, it goes down until it hits 0. Now, what do you think this is? No. Sometimes what happens is, it's called a check-in. This is called spontaneous recovery. And what happens is, the kids want to see, or anybody, it doesn't have to be kids, it could be an adult, whoever you're putting this on extinction, they're going to see, does this still work? If I cry, is my mom, or is my dad, or the caregiver, whoever it is, if I cry, will they give it to me? But let's say you stay strong. And you're like, nope, I'm not giving you the candy every time you go to the grocery store. What do you think is going to happen now? It's going to go down until we don't see it again. And that is why extinction is important. So if you want to explain that now.
OK. Ça, Catherine expliquait, il dit qu'il pas voulu que nous pensions extension c'est une punition. Ce n'est pas une punition, c'est une correction. Il prend exemple en market là. Si ti moun nan, I can use your shirt. Yeah. OK, ti moun nan d'habitude li crier et si maman kounya commence à mettre correction sous pied, li pa bay kendi. Kounya yo monte net, crier yo à terre, y a voy pied, y a bagarre, kounya ou embarrassé et puis ça d'habitude parents yo juste tout bay kendi pour faire même parce que la fait moins. Mais yo suggérer que parents pas faire ça. Continuer à crier, si les parents pas changé, il y a vinn baisser. Ensuite, Catherine dit, parfois, ils ont changé comportement, mais ils ont essayé pour ou quoi, si pas crier encore, ça va changer. Et il a essayé si maman campé ou bien papa dit non, ou te mettre crier, moi dit non, papa ça vient faire changer.
So yes. So another thing with extinction, you got to know why. You got to find the reason. So, for example, maybe the child is crying for milk. That's one thing. Maybe the child saying, I haven't heard from my mom. I want my mom love and affection. So I'm going to maybe cry or do whatever they do, hit, whatever may be the case. Maybe you tell them to do homework or do some paperwork or do something, and they engage in that problem. Maybe maybe it's just something that they just like to do. So we have escape. They might want to run away from the problem. Something that they like to do. Maybe it could be for attention, or it can be for an item or an object or something like a candy, toy, or things like that. Why is that behavior occurring? You got to figure out why it's occurring for you to do the proper extinction procedure in order for it to work. So that's where we come in, where we be like, okay, we do an assessment and we figure, okay, maybe that's because he wants candy, or he's crying every time we take something away from him, or every time we tell him to do something, they run away. So we do that, we find out what it is, and then we implement the extinction. But in order for us to do extinction, we have to figure out the reason for it.
Mainly because we want to provide them an alternative behavior. So all behavior is a form of communication. Even if your kid is hitting, they're screaming, they're trying to communicate something to you. It might be as simple as, I want the candy from the grocery store, or it might be, I need an extra hug today. But my clientele and children in general tend to result to what's the quickest result to get that. Screaming, crying. It works the fastest. People will pay attention to me, right? So we need to teach them better ways to ask for that attention. Hey, Mom, I need a hug. Hey, Dad, let's go play outside. Hey, younger sibling, let's play a game together. Things like that. And we want to reinforce that. I love that you were talking for a hug. Let me spend some extra time with you. I hear you. Thank you for talking to me. Versus throwing a temper tantrum. I can't talk to you right now. When you're calm, I would love to spend some time with you. Let me know when you're ready. And then we wait it out.
Ça très important. Catherine avec Véronique a dit, nous besoin qu'on ait raison que fait moun nan a fait comportement. Il y a plusieurs raisons et yo même yo fait assessment là pour yo ka di parents mais qui raison. Parce que si ou pas ka connaît qui raison que fait yo agir comme ça, yo pas ka joindre qui bon traitement pour yo accorder à ti moun. Si c'est parce que livre surette ou c'est parce que c'est pas surette livre le terrain mais maman papa passer plus temps avec elle, mais là yo fait colère, nous gêtant oh qui sont gagné. Par contre, il y a toujours continué à faire colère, mais parents besoin de dire dis-moi qui sont gagné. Parler avec eux, comme ça m'a capable de nous. So communication et son façon de communiquer, mais qu'on y a avec l'aide de Véronique et Catherine, ils viennent enseigner comment ils can communiquer bien pour yo dire parents qui ça besoin.
So everything we understand that part? Okay. And we did go over extinction burst and spontaneous recovery. And this is what we call an extinction burst. That means it's just terror.
That should be the worst it's going to get.
Yeah.
Then it should go down from there.
That's when you see a child will cry for 4 hours because he don't want to say the word ball.
We've been there.
We've been there. We've seen it. That's the worst part. But we do what we're supposed to do, and we know the results that's going to come from it if we do it correctly. This is what we call spontaneous recovery. This is the checking in. I'm just checking in to see if the behavior occurs again. And we don't want to give them that candy, or we don't want to give them nothing on here, because if you do that, then we're going to have to start back all over again. And that's not something we want to do. We want to continue to follow through with our child or the kiddos or something like that, your kid from school or something like that. We want to stay strong. There's another thing, and I didn't add it here, it's called a resurgence. Mm-hmm. So that's when the behavior comes back, because we probably didn't say, oh, good job, when they asked us for the candy nicely. Just whatever, blah, blah. Like, just chase them away or whatever. Now they're going to come back to what they know before. So instead of just pushing the child away or not, they ask nicely, just give it to them. Or they say, hey, mommy, I want a hug. Give it to them. But they're doing the appropriate thing that they're supposed to do, but because they're not getting what they need from you, now they're going to go back to their old ways. And we don't want that when it comes to resurgence. So those are one of those unwanted effects of extinction.
Catherine retourne sur ça, nous te dit, gon série de bagages, li dit nous pas vle pas faire encore. L'arrivée là, en pile parents, c'est les ça yo dit, m'pas capable quitter m'bal dit. Et puis il dit ça c'est pi mauvais parti. Sou ka kembe là ou pas récompenser avec comportement, y a vinn descendre. Là, c'est le petit moun a check avant pour voir est-ce que quitter me font crier pour moi si y a tombé dans tentation. Mais gon l'autre troisième que Catherine a ajouté. C'est là que yo fait bagay la bien et puis nous disons petit alchita qui t'ennuie. Nous pas praise them, nous pas récompenser dit oh ou fait ça très bien. Si nous pas fait ça, nous t'en fait l'air relais, y a retourner battre dans relais encore. So là yo agit bien, nous supposons ba yo comment dit praise. Encourager yo. Dire vous fait ça très bien, moi content, j'en agis. OK.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay. You want to add on to the extension?
I think that was perfect.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Any questions, guys? Yes.
Can I go first?
Uh-huh.
I have he's 13. He's on the spectrum. However, because he has sensory problem whenever he goes in class, the class is so loud I can't. They will put him in a room by himself, and now he doesn't want to go to school, and that's the reason why they send him to therapy. The thing is, what can someone, he doesn't want to participate in therapy. And dad, the family just got a divorce, so dad doesn't like to say no to him because it's like, well, we put them through so much with the divorce and so what can be done with a 13-year-old who is on the spectrum as far as mental health therapists, they are not trained on ABA. What can be done with that?
Well, I want to start off first most where I'm not going to be giving like specific examples because I don't want you to follow my word to a T just because I'm not 100% sure with your situation, but just given off the information you've talked to me about, it sounds like that's a perfect example of the behavior contrast, where in one setting, someone is giving in to all the things he wants, not saying no, and that's a really great environment for him. Why would I want to leave? Whereas at school, there's rules and expectations, a lot of no, a lot of we're doing this even if you don't want to, where he's not going to want to go to that. So where we could try to find something that competes with it, where we could try to make school more fun. I know at least right now I work with the special education programs within schools in a different county. And in those cases, we try to see how much more fun we can make school, whether we can get the assignments to things they like to do, bring in bubbles when they first come into school, just that way it's a whole show when they come in, have classroom acknowledgement. I would definitely get in contact with your school and see what you can get in with individualized education plan and hopefully some behavioral supports as well.
And what county is he in? Oh, is he in school? And in Seminole County? Seminole County has one of the best, like, ABA, like, they do ABA in the school.
Really?
So, yeah, they have the BCBAs in the school. Now, I don't know how the program, what school he's in, but I know for sure because I did do a tour in one school, elementary school in Seminole County, where they do provide ABA services there in the school. Now, it sounds like he's in middle school. I went to an elementary school. Maybe that is something they need to talk to, and maybe talk to the BCBA in Seminole County in the public school. Now, that I know for a fact. Don't quote me on it, but I know for sure.
Yeah, I would talk to your school about getting behavioral supports placed on their individualized education plan or IEP, all that fancy stuff.
Yeah, talk to them about that because I'm pretty sure there's like teachers are like they do training for them for that. Any other questions?
How can we distinguish between a kid who is acting like normal behavior or experiencing any kind of autism? So how can we know exactly he's normal? So it's not about autism. It's normal kids that is doing anything any kid might do or anything specific. When he does that, and you can say, "Oh no, it's autism."
Well, like Kat had mentioned before, we're not eligible to diagnose autism or any of that, but I can talk about the assessments that we look for and that we work towards. So as behavioral in the ABA field, we use different assessments like the VB-MAP or ABLES, which basically signifies the different developmental milestones that individuals hit on average. So at this age, they should be able to use this amount of communication. On this age, they should be able to label this amount of items in their environment. They should be able to respond to this many listener responding instructions. And when individuals are not reaching those average or neurotypical milestones, that's when we come into play to see if we can help them learn in a way that would help them reach those milestones to the rest of their peers.
And also, too, again, we do not diagnose. But what you can do, and I think this is a great example. First, I want to say, what is really normal? Because
Actually.
Sometimes you say kids like flap their hands or do this or like, whatever. But I caught myself the other day doing that. Like, it's those things too that I'm like, what is really normal? Okay. But no, for real. But the real question is, what I think is best too is put your child around other kids. Daycare is a very good environment to see where your child is at. Or do you see something different? Or do you see something that you're not aware of? Go talk to your pediatrician. If you put your child next to your nieces or nephew or something like that, and then you see something or you notice something, talk to your pediatrician. You get what I'm trying to say? Because like Veronica said, there is some milestone that they should be hitting. So they might not, if they're not, or you see they're like delayed. And I want y'all to understand something. Just because a child is delayed doesn't mean that they have autism.
I was going to add next. Thank you.
That does not mean that they have autism, guys. Don't be afraid. Just go check it out. Don't like, oh my God, I don't want to be, I'm afraid, I'm scared, like I don't want, no, go check it out. It could just be a delay of speech. It could be something else. We don't know. But don't think automatically, oh my God, he has autism or she has autism. And it's not a bad thing. You caught it early, that's great. Now we have resources.
Perfectly put, absolutely.
Any questions? This is your opportunity right now. You got the resources here for free, like Pastor said earlier today. Any questions? Yeah, I think he's in the back. I'm not sure if he... We can go get him real quick, because this is the opportunity if you got questions.
Hello.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, go ahead.
Get the parents to be compliant? Well, we all have to be on the same team here. So that's where it's at. I can show you my methods and I can show you the progress and we can work towards that together. If you want to try a different method, then we can go ahead and try that. I tend to put results next to each other. So I'll take data on both the intervention that I'm doing and then what we're seeing without the intervention. And if we can see that, let's say, tantrum behavior occurs less frequently with the intervention that I've put in place that we all agreed on that we can try. I would never do anything without parental consent or any of that matter. So we have to agree to at least try it. If we see that the behavior is decreasing with that intervention and then we take it away and we do it the old-fashioned way and it's come right back up, then we know that the old way was not actually working. So that's more or less, and I can show them that, and then it's up to you, because at the end of the day, this is your child. Like, I am here to help you guys that pay me to do so. You are here to get resources from me. I am not going to go against your word and do anything that you would not want to be done to your child. It's all consent-wise, everything in that aspect. So even if you don't agree with what I say and I show you the data and you're like, I'm not doing it that way. Okay, that's fine. I will do my best to find another way that works for everybody that we can get the same results. Because I understand there's certain things that don't want to be done. That's fine. We're all on the same page.
And I think it's also, too, you work with the parent.
It's teamwork.
Yeah, it's a teamwork. So if a parent doesn't feel comfortable or something, they express it, or we can say, okay, let's try it this way or another way, and then we can compare the data, because we're a firm believer of data.
Absolutely.
So we compare data and we can say, hey, look, this is when we did this is what it works. When we did that, it did it. So, and you're going to get different type of parents. You're going to have amazing parents, and then you're going to have parents that just are parents.
Absolutely.
You make a great point.
Allow one kid monopolize the whole afternoon when they have to take care of others. Therefore, they like just to shut him up here. So how do you get them to understand? Even though I know you might be tired, you're frustrated, but trust the process. If we are doing it in school, please continue doing that. For moments, get in that space.
I wish I knew the magic answer for that, because things would go a lot easier in my job. But, you know, like I said, as long as we're just pushing as much of the matter of fact that we're all in this together, and that the more that you give in, you will see more of this. It will keep coming back, because the more you take away the intervention, let's say we're going to use timeout, or if we see this behavior at school, I'm taking away the tablet at home, and then we stop doing it all of a sudden, it's going to, okay, just go right back to normal. I like to call it the slot machine effect. So if they don't know when it's going to work, they're just going to keep pulling the slot machine until they hit the jackpot. They hit jackpot, they get what they wanted, and they know the behavior is going to work, so they're going to keep trying until that slot machine hits jackpot again. So it's going to keep repeating over and over, and probably last even longer than it did before if we keep taking breaks where we'll give in this time but not that time. I say it's either yes all the time or no all the time. Our rules have to be consistent.
Sorry, guys.
Got a couple of assistants.
Okay. Yeah, we have two assistants. But okay, another point that you made that was very important is, what if they have other kids? And it's a lot of kids. Your BCBA should implement those plans to make it now harder for you. Does that make sense? Like, I'm gonna assess you. Basically, they're gonna assess the environment, and they're gonna say, okay, this is a lot on this parent. It's a single mom, no, with 5 kids, one on the spectrum that's terrorizing and controlling the. They're gonna find a plan for you. They should find a plan for you in order for you to help you through this. They're not gonna just immediately give you something super hard, because they know that there's no way this single mom can do that. They're gonna find something to help you. They might say, hey, in-home might not be the best for you right now. Maybe find a clinic. You get what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. And even if you did want to do the in-home route, there is, or I've had experience where we try to get the siblings involved too. In the example where you say the 5 kids, well, we'll work on group games. We'll work on getting them to learn how to play with each other and how to keep each other busy while you go ahead and get some me time. Like, we can work on that as well. So, you know, if you want to try in-home, you want to do in-center, all that, there are plenty of options, and BCBAs, when you're reaching out to them in ABA, want to do as best they can to do what works best for you, because you're hiring us. We want to help your lives be easier. We want to help you help your children grow and succeed. We would never want to do anything that would make your lives any harder than it already is.
Yes. Any other questions? Perfect example. This is a perfect example. Yep. Thank you. Any other questions?
Just gotta see who's gonna pick it up.
And that's why she keep doing it.
Exactly.
So, any other questions?
Good?
The pastor didn't have no question?
I don't think so.
All right.
Sounds good.
If you do have questions, okay, I'm not gonna lie, we're not gonna stay back for 5 minutes. We're gonna go home. So, yeah.
But thank you guys all so much for listening, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your weekend. It was a real pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
You put it so peaceful. I was going to tell them to go home.
Qu'est-ce que ça nous dit? Praise the Lord. The health department is extremely happy this afternoon because we had 2 great behavior analysis, right? Qui vini après-midi puis yo te vinn présenter nous bel sujet ça. Parce que pile nan nous wè ti moun nan nous agion façon pour nous même tellement parfois nous fatigués, nous sommes travail, nous pas gain temps pour nous capable, prendre un petit moment pour nous capable essayer pour nous essayer de corriger ti moun façon que il doit corriger. So nous juste bâti moun ça besoin et son bagage cap toujours fait jusqu'à ce que nous corriger. Et nous après-midi nous apprenons pile moi-même m'apprendre tout parce que grand pile bagage me pas connaît. J'ai une nièce avec neveu. Parfois, les a crié, besoin de faire pour faire même bouche, juste bah ça a besoin. Mais quand on connaît, m'a quitté arriver dans niveau ça, m'a quitté crier, les on fatigué à descendre. Quand m'a continuer jusqu'à ce que nous capable un bon comportement. Pour nous capable fermer programme après-midi, nous allons camper et nous demander ancien nous Mackenzie, il est capable de venir prier pour nous. Et c'est Rachel, merci de ce côté traduit pour nous tous. Praise the Lord.
Seigneur, nous Dieu merci parce que vous permettez que nous dépassions un bon moment. Vous permettre que Seigneur nous apprenne un pile bagage qui capable aider nous pour être capable de meilleurs parents. Merci pour resources vous mettez sur Catherine avec Sister Veronica. Merci parce que tu permets que vous utilisez talent que vous baillez pour que vous capable de partager knowledge ensemble avec nous pour que nous capables effectivement de meilleurs parents. Permettre que Seigneur Timoun yo capable prendre en compte et permettre que Seigneur lorsque yo va agir mal, on va avoir nos forces nécessaires pour que nous capables guider au Seigneur. Fais-nous grâce, bénis moment pour nous, bénis Sister Veronica and Catherine, bénis toute entreprise, tout projet que vous gagnez et permettre que le Seigneur soit capable de réussir à tous égards. En nom de Jésus, nous prions. Amen.